They called him the Honey Badger, a fearless force on the football field. But behind the helmet was a boy abandoned, battling addiction and fighting for his life. This is the story of Tyrann Mathieu, the ultimate comeback, the power of redemption, and how one man's unbreakable spirit changed the game forever. He was born into a world that didn't seem to want him. Tyrann Mathieu entered life on May 13, 1992, in New Orleans, Louisiana, a city full of soul and struggle. But while jazz filled the streets, silence filled the crib. His biological mother walked away when he was a baby. His father? Sentenced to life in prison for murder before Tyrann could ever say dad. Left behind and unwanted, Tyrann was handed off like a burden. He was eventually taken in by his grandparents, who tried their best, but life wasn't soft. His grandfather died when Tyrann was just 5. The one man who had started to give him stability was gone. That's when Uncle Tyrone and Aunt Sheila stepped in. They had children of their own, but they took Tyrann in and raised him as one of their own. They became his true parents in every way except blood. But the wounds of rejection lingered. The questions haunted him. Why didn't they want me? Was I not enough? He grew up in the rough neighborhoods of New Orleans, surrounded by violence, drugs, and broken dreams. The streets didn't offer much, but they did offer something dangerous: distraction. And Tyrann was a fiery kid, small in stature, big in spirit, and always itching to prove something. He found his outlet in football. A ball in his hands was the first time he felt power. Not control over his past, but over his future. And though he was undersized, he played like he was 10 feet tall. Coaches noticed. Opponents feared. The kid had heart, and it showed in every hit, every tackle, every desperate sprint down the field. But heart alone wouldn't be enough. The shadows of his childhood still clung to him, and soon, they'd come back stronger than ever. At St. Augustine High School in New Orleans, Tyrann Mathieu became something electric. He wasn't just another player. He was a phenomenon. Too small? Maybe. But too slow? Never. Too soft? Not a chance. He had a fire in his chest, and instincts sharper than anyone on the field. He played both cornerback and return specialist, and every time the ball was in the air, it was like Tyrann smelled blood. His hits were loud. His picks were louder. And people started whispering about the small kid with the big attitude. They started calling him the Honey Badger, after that viral animal that didn't fear lions or snakes or anything at all. It was fearless, wild, and relentless, just like Tyrann. College scouts began circling, but he wasn't just judged by his highlights. They looked at his background, his size, his grades. Some doubted, some hesitated. But LSU took the chance. They saw something special. And for Tyrann, it was a dream come true. To play for the LSU Tigers, just miles from where he grew up, was like coming home with a purpose. When he arrived in Baton Rouge, it was like watching a storm build on a clear sky. His freshman year? Solid. But it was in his sophomore season that he exploded. He became a national sensation. Game after game, Tyrann was everywhere, forcing fumbles, returning punts for touchdowns, breaking up passes like he had a map of the opposing offense. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the fastest. But he was the smartest, toughest, most fearless player on the field. And America fell in love with the Honey Badger. By the end of the season, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist, a rare feat for a defensive player. Everyone expected him to be a top pick in the NFL draft. He had fame, highlight reels, and the future in his hands. But something darker had been growing just beneath the surface, something that didn't show up in the box score. Tyrann was battling demons, and they were about to win. Fame came fast, too fast. Tyrann Mathieu was no longer just a star in Baton Rouge. He was a national icon. ESPN couldn't get enough of him. Sports analysts praised his instincts as uncoachable. Kids wore his jersey. He was the face of college football's edge and energy. But with fame came something more dangerous than any offensive player: temptation. Behind the scenes, Tyrann was drifting. The structure of college life couldn't hold the weight of his past, his pain, or the pressure. Surrounded by the wrong crowd and numbing old wounds, he turned to marijuana. At first, it was a quiet escape. Then it became a habit. Then, a risk. LSU gave him chances, second, third, and more. Coaches talked to him. Friends warned him. But the Honey Badger was slipping. His charisma off the field masked the chaos inside. And in August 2012, the fall became official. He was dismissed from the LSU football team. It shocked the sports world. How could one of the best players in college football be kicked out just before his junior season? But LSU made it clear, no one is bigger than the team. And Tyrann, once hailed as the future of football, was now out of the game. No team, no spotlight, no security. He tried to recover by enrolling in classes and distancing himself from the noise. But the silence was louder than any stadium. He was arrested that October for marijuana possession, just 2 months after being dismissed. The mugshot, shared everywhere, was a punch in the gut. He wasn't a hero anymore. He was a headline. There were moments when he thought it was all over. The world had watched him rise. Now, they were watching him drown. Friends disappeared. Trust vanished. And for the first time in his life, the Honey Badger was caged. But sometimes, rock bottom is where roots grow. Sometimes, when everything is stripped away, the only thing left is the choice to fight. Rock bottom doesn't echo, it just stares back. After his arrest, Tyrann Mathieu disappeared from the public eye. The roar of fans, the ESPN spotlights, the Heisman hype, all of it was gone, replaced by a quiet, suffocating silence. He wasn't practicing. He wasn't playing. He wasn't even sure who he was without football. And that's when the pain hit hardest. Tyrann moved back in with his adoptive parents, Tyrone and Sheila, trying to reclaim some sense of direction. He began seeing a therapist. He started reading more. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw everything slipping away. His teammates moved on. LSU played without him. And the NFL? It felt a million miles away. He admitted later, there were days he didn't want to wake up. Days where the weight of disappointment, of shame, of being the headline failure felt too much. I let everyone down, he'd whisper to himself in the mirror. The once fearless Honey Badger was now haunted by fear, not of others, but of himself. But then, something started to shift. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It wasn't a headline. It was simple. He chose to take responsibility. No more blaming LSU. No more excuses. He faced the truth that his talent had taken him places his discipline couldn't sustain. And in that truth, he found a strange kind of peace. He began working out again, at first just to feel normal, then harder, every morning, alone, no scouts, no fans, just sweat, silence, and the dream of redemption. A few close friends stuck by him. One of them, Patrick Peterson, former LSU teammate and then star of the Arizona Cardinals. Patrick believed in Tyrann when few did. He reached out, offered mentorship, even vouched for him publicly. "Don't let this be your ending," Patrick told him. "Let it be your beginning." That became Tyrann's fuel. The road ahead was uncertain. But for the first time in a long time, he wasn't running from his past. He was walking straight through it. The NFL draft, once a guaranteed red carpet moment for Tyrann Mathieu, now felt more like a courtroom. Would teams believe in his redemption? Or would they see just another wasted talent? In the months leading up to the draft, Tyrann trained with relentless focus. No more parties, no distractions, just discipline. He worked out in silence, studied the game, rebuilt his body, and more importantly, rebuilt his mind. He visited rehab, met with mentors, spoke honestly about his struggles. He didn't hide from his past anymore. He owned it. And slowly, whispers began circulating in NFL circles. Maybe the Honey Badger was serious this time. But NFL teams are cautious with controversy. During interviews, GMs and coaches didn't ask him about his 40-yard dash. They asked about weed, about failure, about prison, about discipline, about pain. It wasn't a football test, it was a character trial. And Tyrann didn't flinch. He told the truth about feeling abandoned, about self-sabotage, about trying to numb years of rejection, and about how close he came to throwing it all away. But he also spoke of who he was becoming. Not the honey badger, not the prodigy, but a man who had learned the cost of second chances. Then came draft day 2013. The first round passed. No call. The second round passed. Silence. Then, early in the third round, his phone rang. It was the Arizona Cardinals. And on the other end of the line, Patrick Peterson. "You ready to come home, little brother?" Patrick said. The Cardinals believed in him. They trusted Patrick's word. They saw more than a risk. They saw a kid who'd fought for his life back. And so, with the 69th pick, the Cardinals drafted Tyrann Mathieu. He wasn't a top pick. He didn't walk across the stage. But to him, that moment meant more than any trophy. It meant redemption had a jersey. The Arizona desert became Tyrann's proving ground. When he stepped onto the field for the first time as a Cardinal, there were no fireworks, no celebratory anthems. Just heat, pressure, and eyes watching his every move, waiting to see if he'd fall again. But Tyrann didn't come to survive. He came to prove that he still belonged in football and in life. From day one, he attacked training camp like a man possessed. He wasn't the loudest. He didn't have to be. His game spoke for him. Every tackle had purpose. Every rep had hunger. Every drop of sweat was a thank you to the people who hadn't given up on him, and a message to those who had. And quickly, people noticed. By mid-season, he wasn't just back, he was dominating. Tyrann was all over the field, breaking up passes, blitzing quarterbacks, forcing turnovers. His instincts were sharper than ever, his vision almost supernatural. Coaches described him as a chess player in a game of checkers. He brought chaos to offenses and calm to his team. But just as his story was beginning to turn into a fairy tale comeback, fate struck again. In December 2013, during a game against the St. Louis Rams, Tyrann went down awkwardly after returning a kick. The silence in the stadium was deafening. Diagnosis: torn ACL and LCL. A brutal injury, the kind that could end a career, or worse, a redemption arc. Most players would have crumbled. Tyrann, he stayed on the sideline for the rest of the game, coaching his teammates. Even on crutches, he was locked in. Back to rehab, back to silence. But this time, it was different. There was no panic, no collapse. He had tasted the field again, and nothing would keep him from returning. In the months that followed, he gritted through recovery. Ice baths, painful stretches, lonely gym sessions. No headlines, no fanfare, just grit and belief. Because now, it wasn't just about proving the world wrong. It was about proving himself right. Recovery wasn't linear, it never is. Some days, Tyrann felt strong, focused, ready. Other days, his leg wouldn't bend right. The pain was unbearable. His body wanted to quit. His mind whispered doubts. What if you never come back the same? What if this was it? But there was something different about Tyrann this time. He didn't run from the pain. He worked through it. He showed up to rehab early, left late, took notes, studied film. He wasn't just rebuilding his body. He was mastering his craft. In 2014, less than a year after surgery, he returned to the field. It was cautious at first. He didn't explode out of the gate. He played with a brace on his knee and patience in his soul. But by mid-season, the flashes were back. The fire, the fearlessness. The Honey Badger wasn't just a nickname anymore. It was a warning. And in 2015, it all came together. That season, Tyrann Mathieu put on a clinic. 89 tackles, 17 pass deflections, 5 interceptions, 1 pick six. He was everywhere. Line of scrimmage, deep coverage, slot corner, safety. You name it, he played it. He wasn't just good, he was elite. The NFL finally saw what LSU fans had seen years ago, a defensive mastermind in a 5 feet 9 inches frame. Coaches called him a Swiss Army knife. Teammates called him the heart of the defense. Opponents? They just called him a nightmare. But then, just as the Cardinals prepared for the playoffs, tragedy struck again. Week 15. Tyrann intercepted a pass. A routine play. But as he planted his leg to celebrate, his knee buckled. Torn ACL. Again. Another season gone. Another dream postponed. Reporters asked how he felt. He smiled. Tired, but still burning. "I've been here before," he said. "And I know how to fight my way back." The world expected despair. What they saw was resilience. Because by now it was clear. You can knock down Tyrann Mathieu, but you'll never knock him out. Arriving in Kansas City, Tyrann Mathieu was no longer the underdog trying to prove himself. He was a seasoned warrior with scars and stories, ready to lead. The Chiefs were a team hungry for glory, with Patrick Mahomes lighting up the field and Andy Reid steering the ship. But defense had been their weak link, and Mathieu was brought in to change that narrative. From the start, he brought intensity and intelligence. On and off the field, Tyrann's presence was felt. He wasn't just making tackles, he was mentoring young players, rallying the team, and setting an example of resilience. In the 2019 season, Mathieu's impact was undeniable. His leadership helped tighten the defense, and he recorded critical plays in key moments. But it was the 2019 to 2020 playoffs where his story reached new heights. The Kansas City Chiefs made it all the way to Super Bowl 54. Facing the San Francisco 49ers, it was a battle of wills and talent. When the final whistle blew and the Chiefs won 31-20, Tyrann's journey, from a lost boy in New Orleans to Super Bowl champion, was complete. It was more than a trophy. It was proof. Proof that no matter the mistakes, no matter the falls, the fight to rise again can lead to greatness. Winning the Super Bowl was a dream realized. But for Tyrann Mathieu, the game was never just about football. Having walked through darkness, he understood the power of second chances. He knew what it meant to feel lost, to be written off, and to fight for every step forward. That's why off the field, Tyrann became more than an athlete. He became a beacon. He launched the Honey Badger Foundation, dedicated to helping at-risk youth in New Orleans and beyond. Through mentorship programs, scholarships, and community outreach, Tyrann works to give kids a fighting chance, just like he had. He speaks openly about his struggles with addiction and mental health, breaking the stigma around these issues in sports and society. He encourages young people to own their stories, no matter how painful, and use them as fuel to build better futures. Tyrann's story isn't just about football. It's about redemption, resilience, and hope. It's about refusing to be defined by your past and choosing instead to write your own future. He still carries the scars, but now they are marks of strength, not shame. What makes Tyrann Mathieu truly inspiring isn't just his talent or his victories. It's his willingness to be vulnerable. In a world that expects athletes to be invincible, Tyrann broke the mold. He talked openly about his struggles with depression, anxiety, and addiction, showing that strength isn't the absence of pain, it's the courage to face it. He became a voice for mental health awareness, sharing how therapy, support systems, and self-acceptance saved his life. His honesty encouraged teammates, fans, and young people alike to seek help without shame. Tyrann proved that being real, flaws and all, is a form of power. His story shows that you don't have to hide your scars to be a champion. Sometimes, sharing them is the bravest act of all. Through interviews, public speeches, and social media, he's changed the conversation around what it means to be strong, teaching the world that vulnerability is not weakness. It's the foundation of true resilience. Tyrann Mathieu's journey shaped not only the player, but the leader he became. In the locker room, he was the voice of reason, the motivator who pushed teammates to be better, not just in football, but in life. He understood struggle firsthand and used his experience to guide younger players through their own challenges. Coaches praised his football IQ, but even more, his character. Tyrann led by example, showing how to bounce back from setbacks, maintain discipline, and stay humble despite success. Off the field, he volunteered in schools, spoke at community centers, and mentored kids facing adversity. His leadership extended beyond the game, proving that true champions uplift others and leave a lasting impact. In Kansas City, his presence helped build a culture of accountability and heart, a culture that led the Chiefs to sustained success. His story reminds us that leadership isn't about titles or accolades. It's about influence, compassion, and resilience. Tyrann Mathieu's journey is far from over, but his legacy is already being written. From a boy abandoned and lost in the streets of New Orleans, to a college star battling demons, to a man who overcame addiction, injury, and doubt to become a Super Bowl champion and community leader, his story inspires millions. He has shown that no matter where you start or how many times you fall, it's the courage to rise that defines you. His influence reaches beyond football fields, into classrooms, neighborhoods, and hearts. Through his foundation, public speaking, and example, Tyrann is changing lives every day. And as he continues to play, mentor, and give back, the Honey Badger's bite is felt far and wide, not just for his ferocity on the field, but for his fierce commitment to hope and redemption. His story is a beacon, reminding us all that our past does not dictate our future, and that true strength is born from struggle. Tyrann Mathieu's journey isn't just a story to admire. It's a roadmap for anyone feeling lost or broken. He tells young people everywhere, your past doesn't define you. Your mistakes don't define you. What defines you is how you get back up. He encourages kids from tough neighborhoods, like his own, to believe in themselves even when no one else does, to seek help when needed, to work hard every day, to stay true to who they are, but never settle for who they've been. His message is clear. Redemption is possible, no matter how deep the fall. Through his foundation and mentorship, Tyrann is building that future, one life at a time. And for every honey badger out there fighting their own battles, Tyrann is living proof. If you refuse to give up, you can change your story. Tyrann Mathieu's story is more than football highlights or statistics. It's a testament to the human spirit's power to overcome. He embodies resilience, showing that no setback is permanent and no mistake is final. Through every injury, every disappointment, every challenge, he rose again, stronger and wiser. The Honey Badger never backed down, not from opponents on the field, nor from the battles within himself. His journey teaches us that true strength comes not from perfection, but from perseverance. That falling doesn't make you a failure, it's staying down that does. Today, Tyrann stands as a symbol of hope to anyone fighting their own fight. A reminder that with courage, humility, and heart, you can rewrite your destiny. Because the Honey Badger's bite? It's not just fierce, it's unbreakable. Tyrann Mathieu's journey proves that no matter how far you fall, the fight to rise again is what truly defines a champion. From broken beginnings to Super Bowl glory, from pain to purpose, his story is a beacon of hope for anyone who's ever been told they're not enough. The Honey Badger didn't just survive, he thrived. And his legacy? It's a reminder that the strongest bite comes from an unbreakable heart.
Thank you. Mathieu. Professor on. What kept him going? What overlook him? He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Mathieu. Professor on. What kept him going? What overlook him? He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Mathieu, Professor Vaughn. What kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Mathieu, Professor Vaughn. What kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't. Thank you. Thank you. Professor Vaughn, what kept him going would overlook him. He won't point to fame or fortune. He won't.